Hey guys, Rumblysuperset here, back again doing another gameplay analysis, this time of Weapon Power Lane Saw. Now before I talk about Saw and how I play him, I want to talk about the fact that I am playing with another Vainglory YouTuber, Eddiiiee. He is the captain in our team. Now I don't normally do this, I don't just go ahead and start playing with people and just, tell everybody, hey, check out this channel. I only do it if it's really for a good reason, and the fact that I find his channel has a huge potential. He uploads daily. He has, great video footage. It's crisp, it's clear. He has commentary, which is very rare outside of my channel and Nox Fox's and Ben Tim's and Commander Alex. There's only 4 channels that really do that. Everybody else kind of does like this music and then gameplay. But yeah, when you have commentary, you have crisp gameplay visuals, you have music, and you upload quite often. That really gets me in a position where I'm like, hey, I truly think this guy deserves more subs. And so I'm bringing it to you guys, your guys' attention, saying, hey, check out Eddiiiee. I'm not saying subscribe. If you like his content, definitely subscribe. But just give him a chance, check him out, see what you think. I think he's an amazing Vainglory YouTuber, and I think he's going to be big in the future. And I just kind of want to give him that nudge to help him out because he truly deserves it. So anyways, let's talk about Saw. So the biggest thing about Saw is I feel like he is probably by far the most aggressive laner in terms of pushing power. So what I mean by that is basically if you leave your lane unattended with a Saw in lane, your turret's gonna go down. Because that's the focus of Saw. Saw just pushes turrets. He's a mobile turret, destroying turrets. So literally he just sits there and just fires down onto the turret no matter what you're doing. If you rotate, it's going to put your turret at risk, and that's where our Saw truly shines. So you're going to see here at some point in the future, probably around 5 minutes from now, where I start pushing really hard. Another thing too is you really don't want to rotate unless you absolutely have to with Saw. Rotations with Saw is very slow, and therefore you only want to rotate when you truly are needed. A lot of times you can rotate with any other laner and kind of help out here and there, and not really cost yourself a lot of farm or time. But with Saw, that's not really the case because he's super slow, and just to rotate means that you have to wear off your spin up, and not just that, but you're running slow while you're waiting, and by the time you get to your teammates, the fight's already done. So a lot of times you want to stick in lane as much as you can just to push that turret as hard as you can. Again, you're just going to farm up, push the turret every chance you get, push those minions up to that turret so you can take it down fast. So again, here's where Scarf is rotated. I'm like, okay, well, I'm going to push lane. There is no reason why I shouldn't. So I'm going to go ahead and just focus that turret. Even though my teammates may possibly need me, it's probably more valuable at this point for me to just focus that turret. And as soon as I see them engage on me, like I see the Arden right now, I'm getting ready to shank or to roadie run. I see that he's going to use his punch. I actually use the jump back effect of the roadie run to hit Arden, doing a little bit of damage, not much. He still had a lot of health, so the health percentage is not very much. And then jump back with it. Highly skilled Saw players, I'm not like the pinnacle of Saw in terms of how I play him. Like there's tons of people who are better than me, but I get the general idea. But highly skilled Saws can position themselves against a wall while shanking and hop over the wall with the jump back. It's phenomenal seeing it happen. I personally haven't had a situation where I can pull it off, but I'm definitely looking forward to the point when I can. But again, now I'm back in lane, and I'm just farming as fast as I can. I want to make sure that I can just push this lane every moment I get. Scarf is poking me, but at this point, I really don't care. I feel like I have a lot more power. I have that heavy blade. You can see there, even though he was hitting me with a Spitfire, he was applying that burn. My damage output with that spin up is phenomenal. And I really don't care if he wants to be aggressive because I'll be aggressive just as much, if not more. So yeah, so even if you can't rotate, like for instance this one right here, although I'm going down to get the gold mine because we killed Arden and now they're backing off. A lot of times you can kind of just use your suppressing fire from a distance to kind of slow the enemy so your teammates can catch up and then back off. I mean that in itself is enough to help your team. Potentially, so using your suppressing fire not just for the spin up but also for the slow is pretty crucial as well, I feel, for team play. Another thing too about Saw is he's really good at taking down objectives, whether it's the gold mine, the minion mine, whatever it may be, turrets. His spin up allows him to put down a lot of damage in a very short amount of time, especially if your suppressing fire is up and you can get that spin up immediately. Again, so like what I did was I saw that we took out Arden. Taka was on the run, and therefore I was like, hey, let's get the gold mine because it's gonna be really fast. We're not gonna have any issues. So now again, I'm pushing as hard as I can. It's the general consensus: push, push, push with Saw, no matter what you do. At this point, I'm gonna go ahead and try to take down Scarf and shank him. I thought I was out of turret range, but I wasn't. So I did take that turret shot and died. If I didn't get hit by the turret shot, I would have survived. But I guess that was just a flaw in my tactic. Was I'm gonna kind of kite him, take down his health enough to where I can shank him and then kill him. But yeah, I didn't expect that turret to hit me. That was a little bit unfortunate, but it was a 1-for-1, so that was okay. My junglers are winning. If you guys don't know, I Love Curry is Oracle. He changed his Thieving Rascal to I Love Curry. I don't know why he decided to change it. I guess he just wanted a name change. But yeah, so it's expected that my junglers are going to do quite fine against this comp. Takas are kind of annoying if played with a really high skill tier player. We've played against things like our people like Chicken123, who's an amazing Taka, quite frankly, and annoying Taka just because he's that good with it. Again, here we go. So Scarf is rotated. I'm gonna take advantage of this. I do make a mistake. I go ahead and focus on Scarf at some point when I should have just focused on the turret and took it out, like right here. So I should have just focused the turret and continued to take it out. We do get it because the Scarf backs off because he's a little bit scared of the damage being put out by me or maybe even Catherine stunning him. But we do take it out, and I use my rotary run to get out. I don't want to stay too long. I want to make sure that potentially my Catherine doesn't die, so I use the suppressing fire to slow down the Arden as well, and also keep my stacks of suppressing fire. So that's another tactic to do as well. If your teammates are getting chased, you can go ahead and suppressing fire to slow the enemy and potentially save your teammates. You can see there's Scarf. He got a little confident, so he tried to poke me and kill me, or potentially get Catherine since he saw that Catherine was really low. But Saw with that spin up, the damage is just so real, like it's nasty. So as far as build order, so I generally, well I would say I always go Sorrow Blade first. That's my primary item. That's where a lot of my early game damage comes from. And then I kind of waver between if I'm going to do a Tyrant or a Serpent Mask. If I'm not having problems with staying alive really just yet, I generally just go with the Tyrants, and then I build into a Serpent Mask a bit later. And then I also get another Sorrow Blade at some point, generally, if I feel like we're doing really well, just because I want that immense amount of damage. But yeah, so again, I'm sitting here, I'm trying to wait for the gauntlet to go down. Oracle with the sword tosses though, allow me to just go in there and just destroy him. Look at this damage. I'm starting to pick off every single one. They're bringing down their health, so I'm just like finishing them off with this freaking spin up, and then finally finishing off with a roadie run. But yeah, it's, oh my god, it's nasty. Like if you can play Saw at a level at which you know when you need to move, or you know how to really engage 100% accurately. Like I'm not the best at it. Like there's situations where like my engagements are kind of meh, but I've seen Saws who can like utilize him in all his awesomeness 100% correctly and just destroy and doesn't even die. It's like, what the heck is going on? But yeah, so like this situation here, the turret was very valuable. I feel like that was worth it, especially since Oracle is cleaning up anyways. Freaking Oracle. This guy is just freaking nasty with Cruel, I swear. But yeah, so now, again, I'm gonna get my boots. Saw is a little bit slow because of the spin up. It does bring down his run speed quite a bit. So tier 2 boots is fairly important, I feel, because you want to be able to get from point A to point B as fast as possible. A lot of times you can even use your boots while spun up to kind of get that extra movement speed to get yourself in the position to help your team if need be. But that's kind of like last resort. You really don't want to use your boots while spun up unless it's going to prove that it was worth it, like in terms of getting to your team like as fast as possible. But yeah, so now like at this point I'm a little bit skeptical to push because I would overextend. Saw is definitely one to keep pushing and not really care about overextending, but me innately, like I'm very cautious about overextending too much because I don't want to feed the team. we are winning, so therefore the gold deficit is starting to increase, and therefore the bounties will increase. So I feel like potentially if I continue to feed, that gold gap will close quite quickly and be very bad for us. So that is the main reason why I didn't want to extend. I want to wait for my team if possible. But now, God, this damage. I'm not gonna be able to get him because he does gauntlet. It was a very unfortunate. It came really close, but I took the double stun too, which was very lame. But it's okay. We do happen to take out the Taka here in a second, and then finally the Arden as well. Not too bad. Again, you don't want to go in as Saw when he's fully spun up. The damage is crazy good. The only time you want to go in on a Saw is if he has a lot of if your team has a lot of stunts, or if you have a lot of bursts on your team, or it's any sort of Atlas Pauldron can really counter Saw quite nastily. Is that even a word? I don't think that's a word. But anyways, I'm gonna make it a word. Another thing too about Saw, what's really important. Okay, so being Saw, this is where I try to do like 1v2, and I know I can't do it. It's like, okay, that really sucks. But anyways, one important issue about Saw is the fact that Atlas Pauldron counters them very, very heavily. Since Saw is all about attack speed, everybody who plays against a Saw will get an Atlas Pauldron just because it brings down his damage to almost nothing, because he can't do basic attacks anymore. So, to resolve that in some way, not entirely, but just a little bit, what you do is you need to learn to block the Atlas Pauldron. The Atlas Pauldron is blockable by reflex block, so you have to be very, very aware of when a Atlas Pauldron is being casted. You have to, there'll be a little like animation of a twirl of Atlas Pauldron, and then it'll actually pop off and do the effect. That's where you really need to like use your reflex block and block it. If you can do that, then you're golden. Now, if they have like 2 or 3, especially if they have 3, then it's going to be a little bit more difficult, because no matter what you do, you're going to end up pretty much not doing so well. Because even if you block the first one, it doesn't matter, because of the fact that, oh, did I die here? Oh no, I get the, oh yeah, I do. I was hoping that he had a renewal, but I think he just barely got their cooldown off, so that was very unfortunate for me. But yeah, so like if there's more than one Atlas Pauldron, then you're gonna have to block one and take the other, unless your team has a Crucible, or if potentially you go in Aegis and a Crucible. But then you're like putting a lot of golds earned into the defensive area, and I don't know if that's necessarily the best choice. But if push comes to shove, then you can go a Crucible Aegis and have 2 forms of blocks. I've done it before. It's done its job. I don't do anywhere near as much damage. That's the big thing. But yeah, so, and Saw is all about, you know, being able to just like shred people through attack speed. Okay, so right now I'm a little bit out of position. Arden is here, so I'm gonna go ahead and disengage. I don't want to stay around too long because of the fact that I can die fairly easy. I have an Aegis, but it's not enough to sustain all the bursts from Scarf and Taka combined with Arden's Gauntlet as well. But yeah, so one thing I do find that works very well with Saw in terms of synergy. There are a few of them. I would say Catherine by far, because Catherine can stun somebody that's on you, and it allows you to just wail on them during that duration of the stun, which is really, really good. Another one would be maybe Arden, because Arden can gauntlet. So if you are within the gauntlet and they're not focusing you, you can potentially do a lot of damage to them. Just really, really shredded. So I got Atlas Pauldron, that kind of sucks. I didn't block it. But it's starting to wear off, and I do manage to survive somehow. Oh my god. But yeah, so that was really good. Another one I would say that'd be really good with Saw is Finn. He's slow, but he has the ability to reposition the enemy team on top or near the Saw, so that Saw can just like destroy him. Basically allowing Saw to stay in the fight a little bit more effectively. But yeah, I don't really play Saw in terms of being my main, but I would think logically those supports would be really good to synergize with Saw. But this Taka though, I don't know why he thought you could just burst me down. I have my team right there. I'm fully spun up. Even if he dodges it with his Kaiten, I'm still going to just hit him as soon as he lands. It was really, really, really unfortunate for Taco. I am sitting on this goop though, so I want to be very careful there. I don't want to just sit on damage. No one wants to do that. I'm going to go ahead and just use my roadie run now too to get out of there. The one thing is Saw, although his mobility is very low, his mobility is also very high with his roadie run. So it's kind of like, when it's up, you have good mobility. When it's down, your mobility suffers greatly. And these people definitely wanted to get to me. It was so funny. Like, they totally tried to get to me, but unfortunately, they already surrendered, so it didn't matter. But yeah, so that's how you play Saw. It's all about lane aggression. It's all about trying to burst down them as fast as humanly possible in lane. That way you can get that gold, allowing your team to topple over their junglers as well. So for instance, here's the idea of it. The reason why it's really good actually is because early game Saw's damage is pretty nasty, especially when you start building a little bit more weapon power. You get that heavy blade, and now you're just like, you're shredding things. But yeah, the moment the enemy team laner rotates, that's the moment you take out turrets. And when you take out turrets, that's 300 gold per person. That's 900 gold for your team. Until you get to the last two where they're 100 gold each, which means 300 gold for the whole team. But yeah, so things like that is just really, really, really good for pushing your team into victory a little bit sooner. But I hope you guys enjoyed this video of Saw, and I sure did. And I'll see you guys next time. Later!